At 9 p.m., do you know where your president is?
I don't know.
Yep, he's sound asleep in his bed with not a care in the world. Must be nice, Joe. The rest of us will keep working. You're on the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, 25 to the top of the hour, 800-941-SEAN. You want to be a part of the program. One last question. I wanted to get this in with Dr. George Fareed, Dr. Brian Tyson. These guys have both been on the front lines of COVID. Dr. Fauci is not. They're out there. They're dealing with real patients every day in the case of, 5,000 between them, over 5,000 people. And they come up with early treatment protocols that many, many states are not using at all. And you can see the difference in a state like Florida and Texas, and then compare it to New York, New Jersey, California, Michigan. Michigan's an unmitigated disaster with these variants now. And, and of course, a governor that says, do what I say, not what I do, and travels to Florida, and her husband's taking his boat out. But that's a separate issue for a second day. This video has gone viral. Now, for example, in Florida, kids have been in school since last August. In New York City, there's still over nearly 600,000 that have never been to school. This Georgia mom frustrated, blasting the school board in this one particular case for the fact that their kids that have not had the problems of older people or people with pre-existing conditions or compromised immune systems or comorbidities, and blasting them, these kids and stuck in masks all day, and the impact it's having on them. Listen.
Every month I come here and I hear the same thing: social emotional health. If you truly mean that, you would end the mask requirement tonight. But it's April 15th, 2021, and it's time. Take these masks off of my child. And I know what I'm going to be met with. But Ms. Taylor, the CDC, we did not vote for people at the CDC. We did elect leaders who do create policy. We elected the five of you. We chose you to make difficult decisions for our children. We chose you to make decisions that would be in our children's best interest, and forcing 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9-year-old little children to cover their noses and their mouths where they breathe for 7 hours a day, every day for the last 9 months for a virus that you know doesn't affect them. That is not in their best interest. And this has to stop. Defend our children. My 6-year-old can't come up here and say this. It has to stop. Take these off of our children.
We continue. Dr. George Fareed, Dr. Brian Tyson. Dr. Tyson, why don't we give you a first crack at that? Young people, although there was a story this weekend about one of these variants emerging that is impacting people in their 30s, not young kids in school. And I'm wondering if you're concerned about the age difference, the shift that we had not really been seeing in real numbers up until just recently with the variant.
Yeah, so a couple of things. I mean, number one, I have small kids at home as well. And my 6-year-old had COVID-19. He had symptoms for about 12 hours, and that's about all. So the first thing we do know is masking children is not healthy, both for their physical health and both for their emotional health. Dr. Mark McDonald, who's an adolescent psychiatrist that I spent the weekend over this past with, he's got great arguments on how the emotional distress that this is creating amongst kids who look for facial recognition. They look for reassurance from mom and dad and from those around them that what they're doing is correct versus what they're not doing being correct. And with no facial expressions, they're not understanding what is good behavior and what's bad behavior. So that's on the emotional side. On the physical side, these masks are acting like fomites. It's no different than the doctor who wore his white coat around rounds and never washed it. These kids don't wash their masks all day long. They're in them. They get moisture, they get dirt, they get bacteria, and they're expected to wear them for 6 to 8 hours a day. What we're seeing in our clinic is an increase in strep cases with these kids. We're seeing increases in bacterial pneumonia in these kids. And we're not seeing any reduction or any really infection of COVID-19. Believe it or not, most of these kids who are getting sick right now are getting coronavirus NL63, which is just a normal variant of the common cold. So I hear variants with coronavirus, and I've always questioned, is it a variant of coronavirus 19, or is it a variant of the 7 other coronaviruses that we see every day? We're also seeing E. coli peaks in the young kids as well. And I believe that has to do with a fecal-oral transmission because they're wearing these masks all day long, every day.
Your last thought, Dr. Fareed. We'll give you the last word today.
Well, that's well stated by Brian, and that's exactly my feeling. I agree with the lady's speech in Georgia fully, and that what we need to do is focus on early treatment, getting these sick younger people on the treatment. It's very effective against the variants. We want to prevent the long COVID syndrome. We want to knock that virus out, and that's what Fauci missed. And I'll never forgive him for that, and I'll never forgive that task force for what they inflicted on the world, actually, and not just the United States. But we still have to battle. We have 500,000 or more deaths that shouldn't have happened, and we're getting more. And so we can treat young kids if they become very symptomatic. The medicines are very safe for them, and the masks and vaccines are secondary.
Well, I really appreciate you both being with us, and I urge everybody to read a wide variety of opinions and get the best of people. I personally love the people that are on the front lines actually dealing with it. I don't like when I hear from people and they tell me, yeah, they said if it gets bad, then call me. You know, you don't get admitted to the hospital until your oxygen level, till you're in deep distress. And I think that a lot of the therapeutics have been underutilized, starting with Regeneron, monoclonal cocktails, and ivermectin, and all these other things that both of you have mentioned. We appreciate you both being with us, though. Dr. Fareed, thank you. Dr. Tyson, thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
All right, 800-941-SEAN, our number. All right, we're going to go to Sandy's in Nevada. Hey, Sandy, how are you? Glad you called.
Oh, thanks, Sean. I just so appreciate you taking my call. I love that you've been staying up on the latest and bringing, doctors that are on the forefront and encouraging us to study, which is what I've done since I had COVID about 8 months ago. And I have a doctor that I've consulted with. Well, he's my doctor. I see him. And he agrees that for me, it would not be good to get the vaccine. And so I loved the last time Dr. Fareed and Dr. Tyson were on your call or on your show, they recommended for people that had, I think it was Dr. Fareed in particular, that had already survived COVID, that their immune system is the best defense. And already having gone through it, and I've read studies about this, that our T cells are different. They're trained to be able to attack even a variant of COVID. And so I do not want to get the shot, the experimental shot, yet I wanted to know from them what they're recommending to their patients who may be, like I have been, harassed to get the shot and even threatened. I mean, the threat is the passport and that I may not be able to travel and my life may be over as I know.
Well, I worry about medical privacy like you do. Well, I can tell you this, probably both these doctors are going to kill me for saying this, but I do know that they are taking calls from people all over the country if you want to, consult with them. Mm-hmm. And I do urge people to you're absolutely right. For example, if you recently had COVID, it's very high likelihood that your antibody count level is going to be very high. And over time, that will begin to decline and maybe even be negligible. But the T cell antibody memory remains, as I understand it. I'm speaking in layman terms here. I'm not a doctor, but and I've talked to a lot of people. Like you're right. We discussed that with Dr. Fareed in a previous point. The saddest thing about all of this, listening to them, to me, is what Dr. Oz said when we were having him on regularly, and that is when politics and medicine intersect, politics always wins. Right. And we've seen that. You can't even bring up, okay, well, this is a possible answer, this is a possible answer, this is a possible answer. It's not that you fight with the army you wish you had during a pandemic. You fight you fight with the army that you do have. And there was such an unwillingness. The number one premier expert on hydroxychloroquine, for example, Dr. Daniel Wallace, who's been peer-reviewed 250 papers or so, number one guy on rheumatoid arthritis and lupus and he's anti-malarial drugs, said the risk is nil. Okay, when the top guy that's been dispensing something for 40 years without a single complication to thousands and thousands and thousands of people, at that point, what have you got to lose? In my point of view, and nobody wanted to hear it. And then the two studies that went out in these medical journals were very harmful. They had to be rescinded. These are prestigious medical journals that had to pull back these early phony studies from people that had a political agenda. It's sad. But you know what? But these doctors I do know spend time and they take calls from people around the country, and they've helped a lot of different people, even people that I know. And I think that, yes, hearing a variety of medical opinions and making a personal medical choice based on your very unique medical condition has got to be based on knowledge and medical consultation. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell everybody what to do here. I could. It seems like everybody wants to know, what's Hannity's opinion on this? I'm not Dr. Hannity. We used to do a segment called Dr. Hannity about relationships, but I'm not a doctor. But we seek out on this program a variety of viewpoints so that you can make your own informed decision. And, it's amazing I get criticized for it. But sounds like you're on the right track, Sandy, okay?
Thanks, Dr. Sean. And something that Dr. Tyson said that I really appreciated was that the drop in immune function after the vaccine is what they're seeing, and people then subsequently getting COVID who might not have had they not had the vaccine. I think that's what I'm concerned about for me, is that it will drop my immune system so that T cell function that I am so excited that I have now, I may not have, and it may make me more susceptible.
What I like about what I'm hearing from you is you've read a lot, and it's obvious. Keep reading. Keep talking to professionals. Get a variety of views, and then make your informed decision based on your consultation with your doctor, based on your unique medical condition. Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much.
That's the best advice I can give. I'm trying to be responsible here. I don't want to lose one person in this audience ever. And this is a smart audience that listens to talk radio. All right, quick break. Right back to the phones. 800-941-SEAN. Blinds.com. No store can beat their prices. Nobody. And I also, by the way, want you to conserve on your energy bill, and they're also, on top of their already low price, they're going to add an additional 40% off their cellular shades, which are very, very good for your heating and cooling bills. By the way, it's made from recycled water bottles. Plus, they're offering 35% off everything else. You can upgrade any room in your house. And with Blinds.com, they make it simple, convenient, easy. You order online, you get free shipping. They have their guaranteed perfect fit. Whether you're a do-it-yourselfer or you let them handle the install start to finish, their cordless cellular shades are incredible. And so you can feel good knowing that your window treatments are going to look great. And by the way, the latest technology and reusable items that they use to make it, good for the environment, good for your home. Anyway, and they're completely cordless, which I love. And they're very energy efficient. Just go to Blinds.com, shop on their new deals, up to 35% off site-wide. Blind shades, interior shutters, outdoor shades, and their lowest door-busting pricing on 40% off for their cordless cellular shades that are, yes, made from recycled water bottles at Blinds.com.
Roundup is next. You do not want to miss it. And stay tuned for the final hour free-for-all on the Sean Hannity Show.